The recap is brought to you by General Effect Media. Be sure to follow and subscribe to GEM for reviews, breakdowns, rankings, and other podcasts such as Bring It In. We've also introduced the 2023 DCI Score Dashboard by bandscores.net and a new article series called Back of the Bus. Be sure to check out all of that and more on General Effect Media. Monday, July 10th, 2023, the year of our Lord, 3:10 p.m. in the Superior Time Zone, that is the Central Time Zone. Week 2, Drum Corps International DCI is done. And we still have wild weeks. We got 5 more weeks of competitions. And we really, in those 5 weeks, have 3 days amongst those 5 weeks where there is not a Drum Corps show. So basically, unlike the NFL, if you want to watch Drum Corps somewhere, there is Drum Corps going on. Can you watch it on Flow Marching? Maybe. I don't know. No free shout-outs. Sponsor the pod. But General Effect Media, GEM, bandscores.net, we've worked together, and there is a dashboard that we use, the 2023 DCI Score Dashboard, powered by bandscores.net. You can go on the GEM Substack, you can go on the Bandscores or GEM social media and get all of that stuff. The links, I'll probably put it in the description for you. But I thought I would go through sort of what the top 12 and then some looks like after week 2. Now, understanding and fully admitting that you cannot accurately compare scores from across competitions where drum corps are not competing. But the idea of the way we score is that we have similar judges throughout. Maybe some have seen others earlier or later, or we'll see them. Plus, we're all going off the same rubric. So we're hoping, and by rubric, I mean rubric, we're hoping that the scores are comparable. But let's just jump to it. So week 2, when you look at the last scores and or the last 7-day average, the top 12 and the top 17, I think, all are the same order. And you'll start to see that we're breaking into neighborhoods, which is what happens over the summer. Some people like to call it slotting. But the fact is, you get into a neighborhood. And once you get kind of locked in, it's hard to get out. Trust me, I know. So right now, we've got the Blue Devils in first, right? Blue Devils, that's not a surprise to anyone that knows anything about Drum Corps. Boston Crusaders are in second based on last score and average. Carolina Crown in third, and then Blue Coats in 4. That top 4, I'm not going to say is 100% locked, but I would be very surprised if by the end of the season we hear a different Drum Corps announced in that top 4. With the absence of Santa Clara Vanguard, there's not a top 5, so to speak, though there's not to say that they would be in the top 5, especially when you consider that we have 2 and 3 drum corps that are really making a push into that top 5, top 6. Phantom Regiment right now is in the 5th place spot. They are right there in 5th place on score, and I don't want to say it's not close, but they're right in an island, honestly, between 4th and 6th, which is where the Mandarins are at. Right now, this is the highest the Mandarins would be if finals were today. Phantom, of course, has been higher before, but not in some time. Perhaps, what show would it be? One of the Don Hill, Jamie Thompson shows, correct? One of the nerd, check me out on that. And then in 7th, we have the Blue Stars. So 5, 6, 7 is its own neighborhood right now. So while I'm not going to say again, it's a foregone conclusion that the Blue Devils are going to win, yeah, you would get, I don't know, what is it when you bet $1 and you get 10 cents? That's what you would get if you put money on the Blue Devils. But Blue Devils, and then 2, 3, 4 is going to be a wild toss-up. 2, 3, 4, Boston Crown, Blue Coats. Who's going to medal? Who's not? And then Phantom, Mandarins, Blue Stars, that next neighborhood. Then we get into the 8 through 11. 8 through 11 is what I consider to be the next neighborhood. Right now, the Cavaliers are in 8th. The Cadets are in 9th. This is a drop from the Cadets, who were in 6th last year. The Colts are in 10th, which is an improvement, especially when you consider who they are above. The Troopers, who are in 11th. I think 8 through 11 are pretty solid based on where we're at, though I could see that upper neighborhood of the 5 through 7 becoming a 5 through 8. But I think the 9, 10, 11 neighborhood is going to stay the same. I could be wrong. I have been wrong before. And if I'm wrong, you can come back and go, told you so. And then we have what is arguably the most competitive neighborhood. I don't want to say top to bottom, but 12 through 17. When you take into account that the Blue Knights right now are in 12th, Madison Scouts are in 13th, Pacific Crest coming out the gate in 14th. Spirit of Atlanta coming out in 15th. Academy in 16th. And up until last year, a finalist mainstay, Crossman, in 17th. You're going, what? That's a lot of drum corps. 6. Why are they so close? I don't know. All I know is they are within 1.5 points. 1.5 points separates 12th place to 17th place. I think that's what they would call a toss-up on my favorite political Facebook page, Cause and Effect. That's a toss-up, folks. That's a top, folks. What is it leaning? Is it leaning West Coast with the Blue Knights, Pacific Crest Academy? Is it leaning Midwest with the Scouts? Is it leading the South, Spirit of Atlanta? Or is it leading Southwest with the Crossmen? I don't know. But how are we getting here? How are we getting to the point where these are the drum corps, these are the orders that we're in, these are the neighborhoods that we are in? Before I get to that, I just got to ask a question. Right now, I believe there might be a 4-point gap between 11th and 12th place on the last score. 3 points. I mean, we are close to 4 points. What's the biggest gap between like an 11th and 12th place drum corps? Because we may find out this summer. We may set the record. Shout out to anyone who brought that up. But let's get into the breakdown. One of the cool things about this dashboard is that you can do caption rankings. You can do so much on this dashboard. I know it sounds like a commercial for the dashboard, but it allows me to break things down and have content to talk about to you, listener. So right now, why are the Blue Devils in first? Because every caption they have right now, they're averaging first place. So you don't need to go into that. Boston's in second, because every caption they have right now is averaging second place overall. So you have a pretty solid top 2. If this was UIL, those would be your champions of sorts, right? And then the ordinals get somewhat wonky, right? And then we get into a place where almost every drum corps has a weakness and every drum corps has maybe a strength, right? Or a strength, right? Carolina Crown. They're pretty much 3rd and 4th across the board. 4th in general effect, 3rd in everything else, except for percussion. Now, it's hard to call this a weakness considering where the Carolina Crown percussion has been before. Carolina Crown won in spite of their percussion section. I'll say it. I said it, right? Which is weird because if you have a drum line placing that low, shouldn't that affect the music analysis score? But hey, whatever. I wasn't judging DCI back then. But Crown's weakness is a 5th place percussion score. The difference between 4th and 5th or 3rd and 5th is going to potentially keep them from top 2, right? Bluecoats right now, weirdly enough, their weakness is the brass, but their brass is in 5th place. So both of these corps, Carolina Crown and Bluecoats, have quote-unquote weaknesses, but it just means that they're placing out of the top 3, top 4. Bluecoats, 3rd in percussion, 4th in guard, 4th in visual, 3rd in GE. What does that mean? That if Bluecoats just play better, they could move up? Possibly. But then percussion just needs to quote unquote play better and they'll move up, right? Like, I don't know. It's crazy. It's awesome. That's why you're in their neighborhood. They're certainly in their own neighborhood, especially when you start to realize just how zip codey the rest of the drum corps are. We get to Phantom Regiment, who's in 5th place, 4th in brass, 9th is their weakness in percussion. New percussion team, just feeling things out. I totally understand that, but everything is 4th, 5th, 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 except percussion. So yes, on paper, that's a weakness. Mandarins, 7th in brass, 8th, 7th, 6th with guard, visual, GE, respectively. Mandarins 10th in percussion. So Mandarins and Phantom kind of fighting the same battles with the percussion being their weakest scoring caption. And just to clarify for those of you listening, doesn't mean they're bad. That's not what I'm saying, that, oh, Phantom Regiment has bad percussion. What I'm saying is if you look at the numbers, that's the weakest caption overall. You look at the Blue Devils in Boston, all of their captions are 1st, 2nd. Crown, 3rd, 4th, 5th, right? Gotcha. Blue Stars, their strengths are in the visual. Color guard and visual are 6th. Their weakness, what's this broken record here? Percussion. Blue Stars percussion was holding them back last year. They were beat by a number of non-finalist drum corps in percussion caption. This year they're in 11th. They're still in finals, but you have to assume if Vanguard was here, they'd be in 12th place in percussion, right? Then we go to the Cavaliers, and this is where Cavaliers are actually overperforming in one caption. Brass is 9th, color guard's 9th, visual is 9th, GE is 8th, percussion is in 4th. Now, that would make sense because I think that percussion staff in some way, shape, or form has been there for 40 years. But regardless, that's their caption that is really kind of holding them up above, perhaps, the cadets. Because the cadets now, pretty consistent. 6th in brass, 6th in percussion, 7th in color guard, 8th in visual, 10th in general effect. This shows that, are they outperforming their design? Possibly. Are the judges having a hard time understanding the show? Perhaps. I don't know. I don't listen to those tapes. I don't know what's going on. But GE is their weakest caption. Then we get to the Colts. The Colts right now is another example of a section overperforming the other captions. Brass in 11, color guard 10, visual 10, general effect 9, percussion in 7. Colts overperforming all their other captions. Troopers, they have both. They have a caption that is really holding them up, and then based on the way things are coming out, you have a caption that's holding them back. 10th in brass, 11th in visual, GE 11th, right? Percussion 8th. And again, no surprise because that team and those performers, especially with the absence of Santa Clara Vanguard and the presence of the Paul Rennick tree, they're overperforming, and they've been doing that. They're overperforming the captions. But then we get into the color guard caption, and I think this is where or why the Colts surpassed them this past week, because the Troopers color guard is currently ranked 14th, below 2 currently non-finalist drum corps. Then we get into 12th place Blue Knights, and this is where we talked about how the next 5 or 6 drum corps are just all a mess. Because Blue Knights Brass, 13. Blue Knights Color Guard, 15. Blue Knights Visual, 13. The only caption that they are currently in finals is GE in 12th, but their weakest caption, Percussion, in 16th. Right now, we have mentioned 5 percussion sections as being the weakest, but I will tell you that there are 5 percussion sections that are the strongest for these drum corps. New drum staff at Blue Knights, so just feeling it out. Things probably pick up. Then we get into the Madison Scouts, who are on the outside looking in right now. Only one caption has them in finals, just like the Blue Knights. So they are overperforming in brass, 12th. Percussion currently in 15th, behind 1 or 2 groups. The visual is in 17th. General effect is in 14th. And what's holding them back, much like the Troopers, is color guard. They are currently ranked 18th. And that's wild, especially when I tell you 2 of the drum corps who are currently scoring higher than them in color guard, but we're going to get to that. Then we get to the Academy. Now, the Academy has 2 strengths that are scoring them in finals, though you have the other 3 that are far behind, especially Brass. Brass, they have them in 18th place. Brass is holding them back. Percussion and color guard are scored in 12th place. Visuals in 14, and GE is in 13. So, conventional wisdom would say if you play a little better, play a little cleaner, maybe you'll move up. Then we have the Crossmen. The Crossmen right now, one caption really propelling them and one caption kind of holding them back. Brasser in 15, Percussion in 14, Visual in 12. Their strongest caption, Color Guard in 11. They're top 12. But then in GE, 16th place. 16th place. We move in back to the West Coast. Pacific Crest. 2 captions are their strengths. One caption is their weakness, and 2 of them are pretty so-so. Visual and GE are both 15th. Okay. The caption that's holding them back is Brass, 17th place, 17th place. And then their strengths are Percussion and Color Guard, 13 and 13. So this Pacific Crest doesn't have any captions in finals, whereas Blue Knights has 1, Madison Scouts has 1, Academy has 2, Crossmen have 2. We move to Spirit of Atlanta, who just came out, but this is pretty admirable considering their strength is Brass, 14th. Above Academy, above Pacific Crest, above Crossmen. Their percussion's in 17th. That's there. Visual 16, general effect 17. The caption holding them back, color guard in 19th place. Now, things get a little bit wonky for these next 3 drum corps that I'm going to mention because their captions, I only mention them because they are over groups that are scoring significantly higher than them overall. Music City's brass line is in 16th, which puts them above Pacific Crest and the Academy. Blue Devils B Color Guard is scoring 16th right now, which puts them over the Madison Scouts, puts them over the Spirit of Atlanta. Both the drum corps that score higher than them. Now, this is the craziest of all crazies. We'll call it an anomaly unless it happens again this week. Impulse Drum Corps scored 17th place in Color Guard, which right now places them over the Madison Scouts and the Spirit of Atlanta. Call it what you want, say what you will. These are just the facts. This is how the captions are breaking down, is why you can see the neighborhoods starting to get clearer or get more jumbled when you look in that 12th through 17th, 18th place. Like it's going to be wild, folks. I don't feel bad in saying, like I said, 2 through 4 is going to be wild. 5 through 8, we'll say that. 5 through 8 is going to be wild. 9 through 11 is going to be wild. 12 through 17 is going to be wild. And that's not even accounting for, look, sometimes things happen. Some drum corps have been derailed by COVID. Newsflash, COVID's not gone. Some have been derailed by E. coli or SARS or whatnot. And then other corps just come out of nowhere. If you will remember, and one of the nerd can tell me, Troopers started the season pretty low last summer, and then they ended up getting into finals. Like they were in finals. So a lot can still happen. You've got 5 more weeks. So it's going to be really exciting. So make sure that you keep coming back to the recap because we're going to dive into stuff like this. This is about as nerdy as we're going to get, but I think it's pretty exciting to talk about these neighborhoods. No, not slotting. They're neighborhoods. Now, let's be real. I don't watch the Kardashians. I've never watched Keeping Up with the Kardashians or any version of the Kardashians. However, I am aware of all the Kardashians and the Jenners. I'm aware of the memes. I'm aware of the cherry soda. I'm aware of the gifs of Kim coming out of the leaves or whatever. Like, I get all these things. The crying Kim meme, all that stuff. And as someone who watches TikToks and shorts and reels and whatnot and whatever videos that pop up anywhere, I'm aware of things. And there is a brouhaha, apparently, and this is music-based, I promise. But Kim Kardashian, the most famous of the Kardashians, I'll let you Google and figure out why. She is fighting with her sister, Kourtney. Kourtney, who is married to Travis Barker, right? Kourtney, who was do I say the normal one? I don't really know. I'm in no position to judge normal or abnormal or whatever. But regardless, she was mad. She was mad because apparently, according to Kimothy, Kim got married in Italy. And this is when she married Kanye West. And she got Andrea Bocelli to perform at her wedding. Well, then Kourtney has Andrea Bocelli and his son performing at their wedding, right? And so this was a big deal. She was basically saying, I got married in Italy. Am I saying you copied me by... You know what? I'm not even going to say that. How about this? Let's put in the clip here.
I got married in Italy. Am I saying you copied me by getting married in Italy? Who performed at my wedding? Andrea Bocelli. Who performed at Kourtney's wedding? Andrea Bocelli. You stole my wedding country and my wedding performer.
All right, so there we go. Now, in an Instagram story last Friday, Andrea Bocelli decided to step in as the elder statesman that he is and says, "Dear Kim Kardashian and Kourtney Kardashian, I'm so flattered that you both love my voice, and I'll always be happy to sing for you." Andrea wrote over the Kardashians' footage showing the two arguing. So basically he clipped it and was like, But he says, "But know that there's a younger and far more helpful artist, my son Matteo Bocelli, who your mother, Kris Jenner, also knows very well." So number one, kudos to him for stepping in a useless argument that makes no sense. Number two, plug in your son. Got to keep it in the family. Got to keep it real. And number three, for cashing those checks. Because he's like, yeah, I don't care. I'm going to cash this money because honestly, it doesn't really matter. What are the odds that another one of them gets married again and invites him and his son? I'd put the odds at 100%. Kourtney is currently single. Not Kourtney. Kim is single. She'll probably get married again. She'll probably have Bocelli's, I don't know, are his parents alive or his wives or girlfriends or other sons or daughters? I don't know. I feel like the Kardashians are going to use the Bocelli families against each other as weaponry. But that'll be fun. I won't watch any of that, but I look forward to discussing this in the next 5 to 7 years of the recap when we are streamed live on insert whatever streaming service has taken over by then. AI International. How many of you are fans of the NPR Tiny Desk concert? I watch a number of them, not all of them. I obviously just look for the artists that I greatly enjoy. Every once in a while, something catches my eye and goes, huh? But then, rarely does an NPR Tiny Desk concert seep into the culture like the one featuring Juvenile. Now, for the kids of the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and today, some of you may remember Juvenile, some of you may not. I remember there was a time when so many songs were dedicated to a lady's rump. I would say First Chair. First Chair is the thong song, right? If you go back further, actually, it's tough. Is the thong song number one or is Baby Got Back number one? Either way, they're the top two. Then you get into is number 3 Rump Shaker or is number 3 Back That Ass Up by Juvenile? I don't know. I don't know. But regardless, when I saw that Juvenile was on NPR Tiny Desk, I clicked over and I said, please let him sing Back That Ass Up. And of course he did. He had to. And boy, as you kids say, when I tell you I was excited and over the moon, I was jumping up and down and white boy dancing, I'm Mexican, here in my office. It featured Manny Fresh. Now, for some of you that are like, I don't understand why they were having hip and hoppin' and R&B music. Shut up. Trombone Shorty was in the group. John Baptiste was in the group. They had some string players from, I'm not sure what symphony was in there, but it was legit. And for all you people out there that continually say like rap music or hip hop music, they make a blanket statement like it's not real music. You're not listening hard enough. You're not, because they were able to take this song and it was banging. The NPR Tiny Desk series is this generation's, which is ironic because the guy who created it is probably more in line with the MTV Unplugged series. Nirvana famously, Mariah Carey famously. It's where basically there's no electronics, right? It's unplugged, right? Everything has to be acoustic. And NPR is not necessarily all acoustic, but you're in an office, like a literal office. I was at Kickin' It, my favorite shoe store here in Austin, and they are a Black-owned business. And when I was talking to them about it, they were playing it on the TV in the store, and they didn't know that it was a literal office. Like, it's one of those, like, they thought it was a stage, right? And so when I say that this seeped into a culture that maybe wasn't fully aware, like this took the world by storm. But I got to ask you, there's two questions, because number one, what is the greatest song ever written dedicated to a lady's rump? Is it Baby Got Back? Is it Thong Song? Is it Back That Ass Up? Is it Rump Shaker? Is it something I don't even know? Leave a comment, send an email, the recap at generaleffect.media, or send us a voice message on the Anchor app. But Manny Fresh, in the introduction to the Juvenile Back That Ass Up, said, "This is the greatest love song ever wrote." Is Back That Ass Up, in fact, the greatest love song ever wrote, in his words? Send us an email. Leave us a comment. I got to know what you think. Last week, we talked about Barbie and Oppenheimer. It's sweeping the world. It's sweeping the nation. I am very excited. I just read a tweet that said AMC has sold 20,000 double feature tickets to people that are going to see Barbie and Oppenheimer on the same day. I'm telling you, that's going to be my July 21st. It will be a day that lives forever in infamy. Barbs, Oppens, Heimers. I don't know what you're going to call those folks. But regardless, I asked the question, what drum corps do you think would be the one to do a Barbie show? And what drum corps do you think would do an Oppenheimer show? I posited that Troopers would do Oppenheimer and Blue Coats would do Barbie. Both are pretty obvious answers. I got some responses. Some anonymous. One actually gave me their name. One anonymous person said Barbie would be done by Pacific Crest, which I could see that. I can see that they would have fun with it. They would do something. And I'm not saying that they are in any way, shape, or form related to Velvet Knights, but they're on the West Coast. Velvet Knights would be the one to do a Barbie show, but this person said Pacific Crest. Oppenheimer, they said Mandarins, because of the dark shows that the Mandarins have tended to do as of late. Also another West Coast drum corps. I don't disagree with that. I think the Mandarins could do a pretty cool Oppenheimer show. That would be fun. Did I say Oppenheimer? They're going to do an Oppenheimer show. And then another very obviously anonymous person said Boston Crusaders would do Oppenheimer with an actual bomb for general effect and still wouldn't win. So I could see Boston doing an Oppenheimer show. I will not editorialize that person's comment, but you do you, anonymous commenter. And then in the Anchor app, Richard James Van Dole perhaps said if they were still around, Bridgman would do Barbie. And you know what? I believe they're right. Bridgman would, in fact, do Barbie. Bridgman, Velvet Knights would do competing Barbie shows. And then somebody, I don't know, the Muchachos would do like a Spanish Oppenheimer show. I mean, hey, Los Alamos, New Mexico, right? It's right there. It's right there. I'm going to introduce a new segment next week because I haven't fully really thought this out and I don't want to get past 25, 30 minutes on this. But I'm going to introduce a segment that is not unlike the old fortune-telling, I can't remember the name of it, on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. My older listener will be able to tell us. It's like he was like the Swami. No, the Swami's Chris Berman, the annoying guy on ESPN. But it might be similar. But I'm going to call this Monstradamus. Monstradamus. And yes, I was inspired by Mooney. Mooney from Chappelle's Show, who had, this is what he called it Negrodamus. And I thought, Monstradamus. I love portmanteaus. Monts. So shout out to Johnny Carson. Shout out to, I guess, Chris Berman. Oh my God. Shout out to Mooney from the Chappelle. I know he's known for more than the Chappelle Show. But regardless, they gave me the name. They inspired it. So, I think we're going to go from that. So anyway, Paul Mooney's his name. Paul Mooney is his name. Thank you, Internet, for telling me who that was. So Monstradamus, where I'm going to make some predictions. I'm going to make some, and nothing to be like, I predict the Blue Devils are going to win, because that's nothing. I have been told I should make outlandish predictions and see. So you know what? Let's start with one. Here's one. I predict that Jay missing is really going to screw the pooch sometime this weekend. By the end of this weekend, by the end of week 3 in Drum Corps International, Jay missing is going to cause some chaos and then try to smooth things over by putting out some innocuous tweet, probably apologizing by ukulele. I'm not sure. I don't know. All I'm saying is Jay missing is going to do some stuff. We'll find out what happens. I don't know. Anyway, it was Karnak the Magnificent. Karnak the Magnificent was a recurring comedic role played by Johnny Carson. So there we go. There we go. Monstradamus, Jay missing. Do what you do. For the rest of you, be sure to tune in for the recap next week. It will be sometime in the week whenever there's a break or whenever I feel like it's the least amount of stuff going on to record and release. We'll talk about facts. We'll talk about reviews. We'll talk about thoughts. We'll talk about all kinds of things. It's a recap. Send us an email, therecap@generaleffect.media. Send us a message on the Anchor app. Or if you know me, you can text me or email me or message me. Send me a DM. Slide into those DMs and we'll chat. So let me know about what do you think about Drum Corps? What do you think about the Kardashians and Bocelli? What do you think about the greatest songs ever written for the Lady Rump? What I guess it could be a gender neutral rump, right? I guess someone could do that. I mean, don't come at me with Nicki Minaj Anaconda. That song doesn't exist without Baby Got Back. Is Back That Ass Up the greatest love song ever written? I say written, but Manny Fresh said ever wrote. And what do you think about Jay missing? Send us a message, all that stuff. Go enjoy the other General Effect media stuff. Bring It In should be releasing soon this week, so go watch, go listen, go do all that stuff. And be sure to like and subscribe and do all those things to the recap as well as General Effect Media on all social media handles. Till next week, adios. Is that a good ending? I don't know.
Greatest love song. Greatest love song ever wrote.
Hey, come on, look, y'all ready? Girl, you're working with some mad shit. Your bad jazz make a nigga spend his cash, yeah. His last shit, whole smile when you're bad shit. They mad jazz, you can ride in the jag, yeah. With that jazz, you can smoke a fire bag, yeah. A grass, yeah. Got money, I can flash, yeah. And trash, yeah. I'm a big time a nigga, yeah. Pull the trigger, yeah. I play head up, yeah. Red killer, yeah. But got me slaying wood, yeah. I'm out the hood, yeah. Let it be understood, yeah. It's all good, yeah. You got a nigga screaming large, yeah. On the hard, yeah. Who's a smooth little broad, yeah. I want some broad, yeah. But you do a trick, yeah. On the dick, yeah. You claiming you want a bitch, yeah. It ain't shit, yeah. I'm the nigga with the money, yeah. Got it funny, yeah. Got birds that are running, yeah. About 100, yeah. Girl, you look good, want to back that ass up. So fine, motherfucker, want to back that ass up. From the big daddy singing. Back that ass up. Girl, who is your plan saying? Back that ass up. Girl, you look good, want to back that ass up. So fine, motherfucker, want to back that ass up. Call me big daddy when you back that ass up. Girl, who is your plan with? Back that ass up. Girl, you look good, want to back that ass up. So fine, motherfuckers want to back. Come on. You got a stupid ass, yeah. Make me laugh, yeah. Make a nigga wanna grab, yeah. Wanna grab, yeah. I'm sweating in the jaws, yeah. All dog, yeah. Wanna walk it like a dog, yeah. Break your heart, yeah. Get money, go get yours, yeah. I'm a sir, yeah. You fucking with my nerves, yeah. To the curve, yeah. I know you bitches know, yeah. And it's so, what they do, we got some more, yeah. I'm about to roll, yeah. Press ball some shit, yeah.
Hit it, bitch, yeah. We be making hits, yeah.
Have a hit, yeah. Them titties sit nice, yeah. Wanna fight, yeah. I can fuck you right, yeah. All night, yeah. Gonna bring it to my house, yeah. On the couch, yeah. Let the pussy out, yeah. Get the mouth, yeah. I wanna see a show, yeah. Really low. Let me run it in the hole, yeah. Make me know, yeah. Girl, you look good, want to back that ass up. So fine motherfuckers want to back that ass up. Call me Big Daddy, say.
Back that ass up.
Girl, who is you playing with?
Back that ass up.
Girl, you look good, want to
Back that ass
Y'all
up.
some fine motherfuckers want to
Back that ass up.
Call me Big Daddy with them.
Back that ass up.
Girl, who is you playing with?
What? I know you can't stand it. What? Dick bandit. Then land it. Take the draws hand in. Pussy go get it, y'all. Gang spit it, y'all. Put the dick on the wall, then I hit it, y'all. Kinda lonely. I'm feeling homey. I put the piece in the middle like Monet. Big dick drummer chick. In a hummer chick. I beat the one like a drummer chick. See that? Yeah. Look at that. I love a little hoodie rap. That's a fact. Use a girl, right? Girl. Hey, girl. I'm the nigga. The nigga. Get it, girl.
Put your hands up. 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 Say your shit. Girl, you look good. You look good. Tiny Desk. NPR, Tiny Desk. Thank That was good, man. Perfect, man.
One more time.
Hey, she said one more time, One more, Juve. Y'all want an encore? Huh? You really want it again? We gotta give them what they want, dog. Y'all don't know y'all fucking with them.